Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking it out if you're new. John Wick Chapter 4 is now out in theaters, which means it was time for a rewatch of the first 3 films. While doing so, I realized something. John Wick Chapter 3 might just have one of the best openings to a sequel film ever. Let me explain. John Wick Chapter 2 ends with John's execution of Santino inside the Continental. Because of this, the High Table, those who run this international network of assassins, place an international bounty of 14 million on his head. He will also be stripped of access to all resources after an hour head start. It's a really great and suspenseful ending that leaves the viewer on edge. Anyone and everyone poses a threat now. How could the next film possibly follow up on this? The New York streets are where we pick up this story. The endless crowds and the watching eyes leave John open and exposed. Every little activity feels like a waste of time, from stopping to catch his breath to attempting to take a taxi. Both John and the audience are constantly reminded of his waning time as multiple clocks appear throughout these scenes, as well as a reminder from the Continental call room. It's all of these small little things like stopping to catch your breath or trying to get the taxi that feel so long. You know, they're only a few seconds, but when you've only got an hour to live, basically, man, you don't have time for that stuff. Additionally, the music also helps set the atmosphere for the scene. Using the percussion, constant ticking of a clock, and a fast tempo, time seems to fly as the viewer hears this track. Using both visuals and audio, the audience and John Wick are aware of the approaching deadline. None of this tension is lost as John makes his way to the New York Public Library. The slow-moving librarian kills both John and the audience as she tries to find the book for him. You really want to just reach in and do it for her. Out of the way, I can do this faster. On top of this, John is interrupted by a fellow hitman, Ernest, who has decided to cheat and start the hunt early. Ernest is portrayed by NBA player Boban Marjanovic. I'm sorry if I can't say his name, I'll put it here on the screen. Boban stands at a massive 7'4". John feels at a massive disadvantage here. He has no weapons, no tools of any kind, and so how is he supposed to fight this huge hulking man? The answer, 'cause he's John fucking Wick. Though he's able to beat Ernest, John doesn't make it out of the fight unscathed, setting the stakes that he's not an immortal, untouchable character in this film. Trying to take advantage of the last 5 minutes before the bounty goes active, John heads to Doc's to stitch up his injury. The scene is tense as Doc tries his hardest to stitch John up before time runs out. The ticking in the score comes back, as well as the ticking from the clocks in the Continental. We also get the visual of Doc's clock up on the wall as John watches his time just slip away. John isn't able to forget, and the audience isn't allowed to forget that time is running out throughout this whole sequence. John ends up having to stitch up his own injury after time runs out and Doc is forced to stop. After this, the opening transitions into full action, letting the audience know what they are in for with some of the film's best action sequences. A claustrophobic knife fight within a museum shows off the film's amazing in-camera action and choreography as John holds his ground in this narrow hallway. This fight is remembered as one of the best in the franchise. Fleeing on horseback, the fight heads back to the New York streets in an impressive display of the film's stunt work and visual effects. The stakes of the film are further solidified when the High Table increases the bounty on John's head within these first 20 minutes of the film. And those, my friends, are the opening minutes of John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. I feel it's a perfect opening to this third film in the franchise. It's so tension-filled in those opening minutes and establishes the stakes of the film right away. It never slows down, and those moments of pause feel uneasy as the clock continues to run out. John is at his lowest and in the most danger that he has ever been in this franchise. On top of that, this opening also shows off the filmmaking on display here. Right in these opening minutes, we get a glimpse into the action, stunt work, practical, and visual effects this movie has to offer for viewers. All of these parts add up into what I think is a perfect opening for this third film. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of John Wick 3, especially the opening, down in the comments below. If you liked what you saw here and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when the next one's coming. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.